subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
All right, we are in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Respect to you and respect to the law. We're in the building. Glad to have y'all in here, guys and gals. For the tap in, I need everybody to give me a funky retweet. Give me a nice retweet, everybody. Let folks know that we are indeed live in effect right now. And you know how I got to get down before I start chopping it up. Let me shout out to some of the regulars in the building. Oh, a lot of people are coming in early. We got Brother Different in here. We got Reba, Six, FBA Lives, King Troy. We got Ice Cold. We got the Black Receipt Sweets, Lil O Me, Rhonda, Minister Kev. We got It's Raining Food. We got Black Republican, Saturn X. We got Ty Powell, Highland, the Prototype, Miss Melody, Miss Skyline, Hip Hop, Noel, Cornbread, Wayne Dresky, Hoodoo, Grinds TV, FBA Furball, Brother Deshaun, and the Tethanator in the building. Much respect. I got to give a round of applause to the family. And again, let's retweet, let everybody know we're live. And don't forget, we have a great event happening at the Hidden History Museum this October 4th. We have the Funny Fall Fest. We have just a plethora of very funny comedians. We're going to have great complimentary food. Me and Dwan B, we're going to be hosting. We got Scroncho performing, phenomenal, legendary comic. Just so many people, and it's going to be a vibe. And I want to see your face in the place. Get your tickets at hiddenhistorymuseum.com, hiddenhistorymuseum.com. First thing I want to talk about, family. Did y'all, where my New Yorkers? Where my New Yorkers? New Yorkers, particularly Brooklyn. Shout out to New York. Shout out to Brooklyn. New York's one of my favorite places. Shout out to New York, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Harlem, all of it. They had the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn this week. And boy, they were out there showing out. Boy, they were fighting and scrapping, and boy, they were just fighting their asses out there. Queen, what's his name? Queen's Flip, what's his name? The rapper who's on the Joe Budden's joint. He got into a fight out there, some Haitian dude. He's out there scrapping. Man, what the hell was going on? It was fights left and right. 6 people got shot. Somebody got slashed. I'm reading a report. Excuse me. It says New York PD confirmed 6 people were shot. 1 person was slashed in separate incidents after the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn. That a 53-year-old man was critically injured after being shot in the neck and leg near Nostrand Ave. They said a person of interest has been taken into custody. They said violence unfolded around 4 locations in the Crown Heights while the crowd was still dispersing. A woman in her 40s was grazed in her lower back. A man in his 20s was shot in his leg. Oh, then a man on Nostrand Ave was slashed with a cutting instrument. 2 other dudes were shot in the shoulder. Good grief. Okay, and I've seen some of the videos. It's damn near every video there's a fight in there. Hope everybody's all right. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody heals. But I do want to say this is not FBA business. I've seen some people throwing the word black around. Oh, blacks don't know how to act. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, we're not doing that. Let me just say that. That's unfortunate that there was violence there. But we're not going to put that under the umbrella of black. That was Caribbean violence, ladies and gentlemen. What about Caribbean violence? That should be the conversation. We're not dumping that. We're not going to put that under the black umbrella. No, 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 especially at the West Indian Day Parade. No, no, no. You're not gonna stop being West Indian when the bullets start flying. No, no, no. Stay West Indian. Mm-mm. Stay West Indian. When the bullets fly, when the jerk chicken is served, stay West Indian. All right. When them when people start getting slashed and people start getting shot in the neck, all of a sudden, ooh, black people. No, 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 no. Nope. We're not doing that, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That's a non-FBA event. That was a cultural event for the Caribbeans. It was rooted in the heritage of immigrants from countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Haiti, and other places. We are not culturally or historically tied to that event whatsoever. Therefore, any violence associated with it will not be held at the feet of foundational Black American culture or our community. There's no disrespect. We just want you to keep celebrating your heritage. Just don't drag us in it when shit goes left. Don't drag us in none of that. All right? We are rejecting any collective blame for activities connected to non-FBA groups and their gatherings. All right? The cultural violence patterns, so those are not our norms. Look, every group, they have individuals who commit crime, and a lot of violence at these parades. They've historically been linked to specific tensions and rivalries between certain immigrant communities. Excuse me. Our culture, rooted in the US South, church traditions and resistance through legal, intellectual, and cultural movements, we really don't align with that pattern. All right, yeah, well, some of our events might have some knucklehead stuff, but let's be real. When we look at some of these events, who's doing this stuff? See, we got to really unpack who's doing what. When we have events, who's doing what? When something janky starts popping off, who's actually behind it? We got to start tackling that. Yeah. Listen, this blaming black people broadly when violence erupts at an event, especially tied to immigrant cultures, that's a strategic little deflection. See, that helps shield the specific groups involved from accountability while reassigning the blame to a more generalized native born black population, foundational black Americans. See, because a lot of people that know that black is generally damn near synonymous with foundational black American, generally. Now, people dip and dive and hop in and out of blackness when it's convenient. But when you say black, we're the default. You understand? Now, again, there's circumstances where people are black when it's convenient. So we don't want any type of ethnic smearing tactic. We got to identify when blame is being strategically rejected onto us, and we just refuse to be scapegoated, especially for dysfunctions from non-FBA communities. We have our own dysfunctions we have to deal with. Yes, some people might say, well, yes, there's events that have violence. Yeah, and we deal with it. So we're not going to take responsibility for our violence and yours. No, no, no. We take responsibility for ours. You take responsibility for yours. See, that's been the con game. We've been made to take responsibility for everybody's riffraff behavior. Even Latinos, when Latinos do shit, we got to take blame for that. Yeah. We foundational black Americans, we've always been historically demonized for other people's crimes. See, there's a long history of foundational black Americans being blamed for the actions of other people, if it's crime, unemployment, social dysfunction, and that's a pattern. So we're just rejecting that altogether. Black is not a catch-all term for criminality. And that's why delineation is really about protection and precision. See, when we delineate, and we delineate from different ethnic groups, it's not about divisiveness or superiority. It's about accuracy, and it's about community self-defense. We, foundational Black Americans, we want to protect our image. We want to protect our legacy. We want to protect our accomplishments, and we don't want it to be tarnished by unrelated events and incidents that's tied to other groups who don't even share the same historic and cultural context. Yeah. Every other group, they protect their image, and we should not feel guilty about protecting ours, foundational Black Americans. Don't let nobody guilt trip you. It is okay to protect your lineage and the image of your lineage. This is all about ethnic accountability. We got to take responsibility for a lot of riffraffs and degeneracy that happens. So every other group, they got to do the same thing. They got to take care of that, address that, and take accountability for it within their circles. Foundational Black Americans cannot and should not be the cultural whipping post for immigrant origin violence or dysfunctions. So yeah, we're not doing this thing where they're going to conflate blackness with a single narrative. We ain't doing that. I see Stanky Stacy is in here. Stanky Stacy, what's going on, dear? You trying to get up here?
Can you hear me?
Hold on, hold on. Yeah, I can hear you now. I don't know what the hell happened. Okay, everybody here?
Okay, thank you. So, how you doing?
I'm good, Stacy. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you for letting me up. I just want you to clarify a little bit more what you're talking about.
Okay, sweetie, I'm not doing a recap of my broadcast because you came in late, dear. You should have came in and you should have been paying attention. I can't do a recap, dear. So I know you
I-
be just wanting
uh,
you be wanting to come up and get some attention, but yeah, don't try to get up
Are
if you
you
don't know what's
serious?
going
You
on.
think I'm about attention? I'm about
Yeah,
learning what you have to say and learning something.
it's about
And
listening. You got to listen in order to learn, sweetie.
I'm
Right?
listening. I am listening a lot, and I'm trying to be uplifted. And I know like a lot of the times me and you bump heads, so I'm trying to listen.
Okay, well, listen some more and then call in when you get a gist of what's happening. I'm not about to re-explain, dear. Come on now. Oh goodness, I don't know what happened, guys. I don't know. My thing crashed for a minute. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad everybody's still here. So everybody give me a good retweet to let everybody know that we are indeed back and we're live. Let's get Drake Bell. Drake Bell. All right. Let's get Roots in here. Mr. Roots. Excuse me. All right, listen. Don't raise your hand if you're not ready. Oh, there you go. Drake. Okay, family. Do not raise your hand to speak if you are not ready and you got a janky phone. I don't know why people got these janky phones in this day and age. All right, Roots, are you good? All right, let me get Brother Dashawn in here. All right, let me get Roots out of here. See, I'm trying to, when I try to get folks early, it throws the whole vibe off. People ain't ready, and Stanky Stacy called up confused. You see how certain energy just disrupts everything? Deshaun, you good? All right, Deshaun ain't ready. Oh, there you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Deshaun. How are you?
Hey, brother Tariq, I think that you may have crashed again. I
Uh-oh.
can't hear anything.
Oh, wow. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Brother Tariq, can you hear me? I don't.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can
I'm gonna
hear
have to
you.
leave the stage.
Okay,
Brother
okay.
Tariq, if you can hear.
Okay, can you guys hear me? If y'all can hear me, raise your hands. If everybody can, I know Dr. Davinsky can hear me. If you guys can hear me, raise your hand. All right, down there in the chat. If you can hear me, y'all got me? I need to see everybody's hands. Everybody throw a hand up. If y'all can hear me. Okay, everybody can hear me. Got it, got it. All right, there we go. Dr. Davinsky, you in here?
Yeah, what's up, Tariq? I just wanted to tell you that I was on a piracy like movie up the other night with my girlfriend, and we were filtering through best reviewed movies of 2025. And I swear to God, the first thing that came up was Microphone Check. So I thought that was funny to see. But
Oh yeah,
congrats on that. We watched
thank you.
it. And we probably should have bought it off your site. But yeah, it's number one documentary on this website for reviews.
Oh, good, good, man. Yeah, Microphone Check is a very, very good movie, man. Very good. I'm telling people, man, that movie, and y'all can get it at microphonecheck.com and you can watch it on Amazon Prime. It is a very good movie, especially if you are a fan of hip hop. Microphone Check is a phenomenal movie, and I'm not saying that just because I made it. It's a very good movie, and we were headed for an Oscar nomination on that movie. We were talking with the Academy. The theaters were all with it. The media was all with it. We were about to do a real big Oscar qualification run, and some of the hating ass Latinos whose images were used, they got pissed off and started sabotaging the movie and calling theaters, threatening them, and all this stuff. It was some real hoe shit, man. I have zero respect for those guys, but I digress. But watch the movie. Nonetheless, it's a great movie. Bored. Let's get Bored Osaka. Bored Osaka. Hop on in. Bored Osaka. All right, Bored. Hmm.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Wanted to tap in and say hello to everybody. Tariq, thank you for bringing me up. I appreciate it.
Yes,
I want
indeed.
to hear what the conversation is about, so I can hopefully add some value to your show tonight.
Yeah, I was talking about the West Indian Day Parade and all the violence that was happening up there, and I was saying that it has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans. Now, your name is Osaka. You're Japanese?
No, no, no. I'm African American, but I have deep roots in Osaka, Japan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you got a girlfriend out there or a wife.
Exactly. Number
Right.
two.
There you go. Your wife. Is she still out there? You bring her back here.
No, she's still out there. She's still
Okay.
out there. Yeah, yeah. I have a teenage son who actually just relocated back to the States and is now living his best life. He's a digital content creator, and I absolutely love everything about my Black people
Yeah, I love that.
every- and everything about my Japanese people.
Now, how far are you or are they in from Tokyo? Because I'm going to Japan pretty soon. How
Oh,
far?
then, then we're definitely going to have to tap in. Osaka is an hour and a half away from, or an hour if you take the bullet train from Tokyo.
Okay, okay,
And when you're in Tokyo, I actually will connect you with a brother of mine who is in Tokyo who will take good care of you there.
no doubt. Yeah, I can't wait to get out there, man. I've been really wanting to get out there and really chop it up. But when are you going back out there?
I actually just got my approval to relocate from the States to Osaka a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So part of the plan is to migrate out there, and there is a huge African American expat community in Osaka, in Tokyo, in Hokkaido, and of course Okinawa because of the military base. But the amount of African American expats in Japan is really a beautiful thing because the ism that we experience here in America is not a thing there.
Mhm.
It's a real beautiful thing.
Were you in the military, by the way?
No, not at all.
Okay, okay. I know a lot of a lot of musicians and dancers out here go out there. I know they teach dance classes out there, so that's a big thing. So yeah, I know a lot of people who go out there and get things popping. Yes, indeed. I,
100%.
yes, indeed. But thank you so much, brother. Let me get some more calls in here. But you guys can hear me good, right? We're good. Okay, we got a Caribbean in here. We got Revenue. Let's hear Revenue talk about his people. Revenue, your people out there in New York. Damn, Revenue. What's going on with your community, brother?
Oh, we just following the culture that we see in Chicago.
Oh no.
We just following the Black American community that we see in Chicago. We just cosplaying.
Oh no. Oh, you're bringing the same stuff you were doing back in the village. So what's going on? Y'all want to fix that?
Nah, you got to remember, Tariq. we as tethers or black immigrants, we like to cosplay as black Americans. Like the Nigerians, they see what you did with the Morris app, so they followed you with the scamming.
Oh, where was the scam? Where's the scam?
I mean,
You can't even you get the lie out. What was the scam? Huh?
you keep moving. Well, you took people money for the Morris app and you didn't produce anything.
Yes, I did. We put the app out.
How long was the app up, Tariq?
About a year. Yeah, it just didn't really pop off like that. So yeah, it was produced. It wasn't like you guys. Y'all just don't
So,
produce
so
shit.
why everybody complain that you scammed them out of their money for the Morris app?
How much did we make with the Moorish app? We got like what 50K. People were donating $5. Nobody complained about that.
So you don't think taking people hard working Black Americans $5 and not producing a Morris app
We did.
is not scamming?
No.
You
What
in the
part?
same boat as Umar Johnson?
We produced it. You lying about it doesn't change the fact. You're just being a lying tether. We did produce it. You
What? So what was the app based on? What
yeah,
what what,
because
what
but
was?
lied. Why you keep lying?
I'm not lying. I asked you about the Morris app that people say you scammed them on.
You said it wasn't produced, and it was produced. So you're lying. Why are you lying? And people will just donate like $5 and $10. It wasn't no big money. I put the most money up on it. So why you lying?
I'm not lying.
You
People
are
said
lying.
they invest.
Nothing. You are lying your ass off. You said it wasn't produced, and it was produced.
It was. So after you
Um,
done land bash in the Caribbeans for
no,
maybe.
but just gonna walk away from your lie. You just got caught lying, and now you're gonna go to the next lie. Okay,
Nah, I was a lie. You took the people money. You
now, okay, we just proved you're another lying tether. Now, what are you gonna do about that violence in your community, brother? Damn, all them people getting shot and stabbed at your pride parade. I mean, damn, what are you gonna do? Revenue, huh?
I think the first thing I'm gonna do with the New York community as far as the violence is that we need to stop cosplaying Black Americans.
No, 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 no. Because y'all had your flags, you had your flags. We're not Caribbean. We don't have those flags. We don't really serve jerk chicken. You had your flags, your food.
Yeah, they wasn't serving barbecue at the
Yeah, we didn't
carnival.
have that either. That either, sir.
So you're from Alabama, so they don't cook rack.
You could have been out there with your razor bumps because your face is razor bumped up. You could have been out there with them razor bumps stopping the people.
You could have been out.
You could have done that, brother. Come on. Come on, Bumpy Johnson. Have y'all seen Revenue's face? This nigga face looks like a damn empanada. All right, you need some foundational Black American shaving lotion for them damn bumps, brother. Okay? Nigga, you got a toad chin. You like the princess and the frog with must. All right?
It's better than putting Beijing in your hair.
No, you need
Way better.
to put some Beijing on them bumps, all right, and darken them up, nigga, so it can be dark and bumpy. That's what you need to do. Oh Lord, nigga, bumpy nigga, you look like the thing. You look like an X-Man character with them bumps on your damn face and chin. Come on, you don't even know how to bathe and exfoliate your skin, right, sir? All that jerk chicken sauce splashing on your face. Come on now. All right. But like I said, family, we are not absorbing anybody's violence. Let's get deep for a minute, family. Can we get deep? Because some people will be like, well, damn it, y'all foundational Black Americans think you can gatekeep blackness. They always tell us that. Let me tell you something. We can. Foundational Black Americans can gatekeep blackness because we are the ones who defined what global blackness is going to be anyway. You understand what I'm saying to you? It was foundational Black Americans who positively defined what it means to be Black. When we say we're foundational Black Americans, we're not only foundational to the United States, we know that, that's a given, we understand that. But family, we're also foundational to something else. We're foundational to global Black identity. We are foundational to that too. I want y'all to understand it was us, family, foundational Black Americans, who were pivotal in making Black a positive global identity. You understand? Now, listen, there were historically in different places like Haiti and Kemet, and I talked about this before, where people in some societies did identify as Black. Even the term Moor is basically an amalgamation of Black. Moor it means dark or Black, but that was the title that was kind of given to them up in Europe. But Blackness as we know it, as a positive thing, as a positive racial identity, that came from us, ladies and gentlemen. Foundational Black Americans, we created that blueprint for global Black identity. You understand? We shaped a unique cultural, social, and spiritual identity, and it was forged through resistance, survival, innovation. And from that legacy, we crafted a model of Blackness that was not just reactive to white supremacy, but it was assertively proud, creative, and globally inspiring. You understand what I'm saying? So we articulated it in a dignified way in the face of dehumanizing narratives placed on Black people globally. So we provided that cultural framework for Blackness that resonated all across the world. You understand? But listen, let's be real. Before foundational Black Americans, Blackness, it didn't have a unified global identity. See, across Africa, across the Caribbean, across Europe, across Latin America, Blackness, it was fragmented. Like Haiti, they talked about Blackness in their constitution in 1804. They mentioned Blackness, but again, that was Haiti. Some of these other nations in the Caribbean, they weren't doing that. Blackness was fragmented and it was defined by the colonial powers. It was defined by the little local caste systems and little color hierarchies. And it was us, man, foundational Black Americans, through our cultural production and political thought and our global visibility, we consolidated Black into a singular identity that was rooted in resistance, pride, and cultural power. So that transformed Blackness from like a little colonial category into a self-defined cultural force. Listen, I just want y'all to be very clear on that. Nobody globally, for real, there was no massive global identity of Blackness before us. And it really, when it really got started, family? What really kicked it off was the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance, man, we really underestimate how important the Harlem Renaissance was. That was like a cultural earthquake, and it had global shockwaves. See, the Harlem Renaissance, when we, technically, it was between like 1917 and the mid 1930s, and it was more than just a local art scene. See, the Harlem Renaissance, that was a massive assertion of cultural sovereignty. See, in Harlem, foundational Black Americans used literature, poetry, theater, visual art, all of that to redefine Black humanity. And that resistance became the first cultural revolution in the modern Black world. You understand? That Harlem Renaissance, we really need to study that. It was a very, very important movement, extremely important. And that reverberated through Europe, the Caribbean, Latin America, and Africa. Harlem became basically the symbolic capital of diasporic Blackness. Harlem became the capital of the Black world, to be honest. You understand? That's how important Harlem was. Harlem was the capital of the Black world. That's why whenever people came from different countries coming to the US, they would go to Harlem. That was the capital of the Black world to a certain degree. Yeah. And it showed that Blackness and Black culture was not just equal to white culture, it was a leading force of modern culture. And it was a great brother man named Alan Locke. I think sometimes they pronounce his name Alain, but just Alan Locke, Alain, Alan Locke. He was basically one of the philosophers who framed that new black identity. See, Alan Locke was a foundational black American, and he was a philosopher. He was an editor, very smart brother. He was a Rhodes Scholar. He was an intellectual architect, really behind the Harlem Renaissance. He put out this anthology in around 1925 called The New Negro, and he introduced the concept of a new Negro, a competent, creative, culturally rich black person who rejected stereotypes. So we were just taking control of our images. So our brother Locke, he basically positioned Black Americans as global contributors to art, literature, philosophy, and you got to understand at this time the first great migration was happening. A lot of black people were coming from the South, going up there to Harlem. So we were coming from all over the country, bringing some of that foundational black American flavor, and it got settled up there in Harlem. We were coming out of Chicago, coming out of the South, coming out of some of the other eastern cities and places. So we were bringing a lot of our foundational black American cultures from different um locations around the nation and centering that in Harlem, and it just became a cultural force. And the Harlem it wasn't just a neighborhood, it was a diasporic beacon. See, in 1925, there was an essay called The Harlem Mecca of the New Negro that highlighted how Harlem became a cultural and intellectual magnet for black thinkers around the globe. The African students would come, and Caribbeans, and um, visionaries from all over the country. And the Harlem Renaissance, it transcended borders and everything else. Yeah, even white people were captivated by the creativity in Harlem. White people be up there in Harlem. They'd be up there at the Cotton Club all the damn time. And the Cotton Club, it was owned by white people up there. And what's interesting, black people couldn't even get in the Cotton Club. We had other clubs to go to. The Cotton Club became very infamous because of the mafia and all of that stuff. But yeah, there was some mafia stuff going on, and you had black entertainers there, but most of the patrons, it was segregated. It was white people up there. But we had our own spots up there that was popping in Harlem. We had our own spots up there. And we were at the time we had this new music form that was popping, jazz. So that was a popping thing up there. So we had jazz clubs, blues clubs popping up there in Harlem. Major movement going on. And also the thing about Harlem and the Harlem Renaissance popping off, the Harlem Renaissance that inspired something that happened in Europe and Africa called the Negritude movement. There was the Negritude movement. It was black intellectuals from the French colonies, from like Martinique and Senegal and French Guiana and all of these places, and they were directly inspired by those Harlem Renaissance writers. So in the 30s, they created the Negritude movement. And again, another thing that was happening is you had people who performed in Harlem, like Josephine Baker, who then went out to France and she became a sensation out there. So we were showing the world our talent and our skills, and we were influencing people. So in France and in other French colonies, they got a cue from us, and then they start embracing blackness as a positive identity. And it spread to Africa and the Caribbean and all of these places. You see? So that Negritude movement, it was more than just poetry. It became a philosophical rebellion against French assimilation. They start taking cues from us. They start fighting against white supremacy and colonialism. And then we start seeing the Frantz Fanons and people like that. They start sounding like us. Yeah. We were using the Harlem Renaissance to resist Jim Crow, and some of the other non-FBA brothers and sisters, they with the two movement, they were doing the same thing with colonialism. You see, See, none of that stuff would not have been, it wouldn't have existed without the intellectual groundwork laid out by the foundational Black Americans in Harlem. You understand Harlem, man? Yeah, I got to take my hat off to Harlem, and Harlem, propped up Garvey and that movement, the UNIA. That was something that the brothers and sisters in Harlem propped up. Again, when we talk about Garvey, Garvey didn't get anything popping in the Caribbean. We really have to understand that Garvey did not get anything popping in the Caribbean. They rejected Garvey. Garvey was embraced here because we were already on that wave. We were already creating a global Black identity. And then when we get into the 60s, it starts to get solidified. See, in the 1960s, that reignited a second global Black awakening. So you had Dr. King, Malcolm X, and the Black Panther Party and all of that. They got global attention based on Black resistance. And then they start linking the struggle here to anti-colonial struggle, talking about how we all need to get on the same page with each other as Black people globally. That was us doing that, you see. But going back to Harlem, I want y'all to understand something. When I mentioned earlier how certain people do things and then we kind of have to get involved. See, in Harlem, you have the Renaissance going on. In 1935, there was a big riot in Harlem. You had the Harlem Race Riot of 1935. And this was the first modern race riot in America. 1935 Harlem was the first modern race riot. I say modern because most race riots in this country, it was basically white people running down on some Black community somewhere. It was always white people initiating it and running down and harming Black people. Harlem, 1935, this was the first time that we took an offensive strike, that Black people start bringing it to that ass. The Black community brought the fight to them. That was one of the first, really the first time it happened in an urban area. And it happened very interestingly because in Harlem, the story was a Puerto Rican kid, a little dark Puerto Rican boy. What was his name? What the hell was that kid's name? Leo something. What the hell was this dude's name? It was some Puerto Rican kid, some dark Puerto Rican dude. I can't think of this dude's name. It was what's this boy's name? It's on the tip of my head when I'm thinking of. Okay, Lino Rivera. That's his name. Lino Rivera. His name was Lino Rivera. So this dude, this little 16-year-old Puerto Rican kid, he's in Harlem, and he went to a store, one of them white stores or something like that, and stole a pen or something. He stole a pen, and they took him in the back, like, "Hey, we're gonna take you to the back and get your information." So a sister saw him get taken to the back, and there was some kind of scuffle, and then he bit somebody and then ran off. But the sister saw it and then went and told the community, "Hey, this Black kid, they hemmed him up at a store, and I think they're beating on him." And then somebody called a hearse because they didn't have ambulances like that at the time, I don't think. But they called like a hearse or a police car to come check on the persons whose hand got bitten. So people like, "Oh, hell no." So the narrative was, it went from a Puerto Rican kid who stole a pen and bit somebody and ran off. The Puerto Rican kid was like 16. The rumor started to spread that a 12-year-old Black boy got beat up by these white store owners. So the community swooped down on that ass and they started tearing shit up in Harlem because they thought that a Black kid got hemmed up. So that's what kicked that first riot off up there in Harlem. And it was very interesting that started in Harlem, because remember, at the time, the Harlem Renaissance, that was a thing where there was social and racial pride. So people were sitting up here soaking up all of this racial pride, and they got to the point where they're like, we're not going to let this happen no more. We're not going to let people harm us, and we damn sure not going to let them harm these kids. So people got their racial pride weighed up and said enough is enough. See, this is why they don't like us to have any type of ethnic or racial pride, because when you have that, you're not going to take no bullshit. You understand? This is why they like to have us, they like to keep us as some generic, undefined Africans. Yeah, ain't no pride in that because it don't mean nothing. See, when we have very, very specific pride about who we are, we're going to culturally protect each other. It's going to be instinctive. That's why they're always trying to demonize the renaissance that we're having now. We are definitely having a renaissance right now. And again, that riot was very, very important because it shifted from defense to offense. And again, Harlem was the symbolic capital of Black America. And that Harlem Renaissance had already primed the community with a sense of pride and collective identity and strength. So any injustice, that was just not going to be tolerated. Plus, it was the Great Depression at the time. So people were already on edge as far as that. People were tired of being exploited by white-owned businesses. Yeah. The police, they were trying to be an occupying force. The Harlem Renaissance also birthed a lot of Black radical political movements. See, when we get together and start reading and studying, we get stronger. We start protecting each other, you see. And listen, the Harlem Renaissance, the white media, they started targeting them too. Yeah, law enforcement, listen, when Black people are doing good, Black people are circulating their money, Black people are being culturally strong and culturally conscious, they gonna do something. They're gonna try something. So law enforcement, they would try to target some of the Black nightclubs up there, try to shame the people talking about, oh, they're doing a lot of immoral things. They would go in there and bust up some of the Black jazz clubs, and they would raid a lot of those Black-owned establishments, doing the whole, oh, you got a violation here, you shouldn't be selling liquor there, there's a curfew there. So they would do little things to kind of try to demoralize the people. Then remember, at this time, jazz, the white media, they were trying to brand jazz as degenerate and dangerous. Because jazz was the soundtrack of Harlem at the time, and the white media was like, "Oh, jazz is primitive. It's gonna make you do drugs. Oh, it's so sexual. It's gonna corrupt white women. Oh, don't let the white women go to them jazz clubs. All those Negroes and that terrible jazz." Every music genre we've had, they've demonized it. That's why I don't get into that argument about what music genre is bad. When they start talking about, oh, the rap music is bad, every genre we created, they said it was bad at first. Every single one. I mean, every one. They said that about jazz. And come on, jazz. Jazz is the most mellow thing you can listen to. And they said jazz was degenerate. It's gonna make the white women want to throw coochie at the Black men. They said the same thing about rock and roll. All rock and roll, that Negro music. These white people would go around picketing rock and roll music until Elvis got hot. And then they're like, oh, well, shit, he's the king. Oh, no, no, no. Elvis. Oh, no. Rock and roll is good now. Now we got a white face on it. It's the greatest thing ever. Oh, the Beatles. Oh, it's the most popping thing ever. Look at it. It's so refined and sophisticated. Right when they get a white face on it. But again, man, the FBI, they used to kind of do surveillance on a lot of those Black intellectuals of the Harlem Renaissance movement, some of those Harlem thinkers and writers. They were fearing that they were going to have radical ideas. You understand? They were targeting people. They were doing surveillance on W.B. Du Bois, Claude McKay, people like that. They were watching them. And especially after that stock market crash, because the country was very insecure after that 1929 crash. So they were really watching Black folks. And they thought that whole new Negro thing, that was a threat to social order. See, the rise of a confident, educated, quote, new Negro, as promoted by our brother Alan Locke, that clash with white America's preference for sub, subservient, non-threatening black caricatures. Because that was the image that white people had of us at that time. Y'all got to understand when one of the reasons why the Harlem Renaissance popped off the way it did, because at that time, early 1900s, the images of black people were horrible coming from white society. That's when Aunt Jemima and all that stuff, they had all the, if you go to the Hidden History Museum here in LA, we got a lot of those artifacts. That's why we have those on display. We want to show you some of the things that they had, that how they portrayed us at that time. We have I collect a lot of those and put them in the museum. And I asked some of you guys too. Somebody sent me some stuff in the mail the other day. I asked people, if y'all run across any of those Jim Crow artifacts, please send them to me. If you're because I know some of you live in rural places, go to some of them antique stores and get some of those old collectible items. Send those to the museum, man, because we like to display them. Some of the stuff, the toys that they had were very derogatory of us. The books they had were derogatory. The little black Sambo books, and it was horrible. Dr. Seuss, who wrote Green Eggs and Ham, he used to write little racist ass books showing black people all. A lot of folks don't know that. Y'all look that up. So that was a thing. Just the media showing us in these primitive, derogatory ways. So the Harlem Renaissance was basically black community taking control of their image. That's why they said it was the new Negro movement. And white society did not like that. They didn't want the thought of a confident black community. You know? Because they start talking about in the white media, though, this is Negro arrogance. Oh, these Negroes are gonna start getting uppity. Yeah. And then they start trying to demonize Harlem, calling it a problem neighborhood and all this stuff, talking about crime. They would do that back in those days, crime and poverty and vice and all this stuff, while ignoring the cultural brilliance of it. Yeah. And then white critics, they co-opted and then they started to undermine the Harlem art. See, some of these white critics and patrons, they would praise some parts of Harlem's art and artists, but by the mid 1930s, they start kind of downplaying it, calling it naive and exotic. And they start doing that because, again, these artists in Harlem, eventually they started using their intellectual circles to start criticizing racism more directly. They started getting more radical. That's the natural turn. When you get a certain level of consciousness, when you start thinking and then you get around other thinkers, you're going to start saying, hey, wait a minute, they're oppressing us over there. That's what the white supremacists don't want. They don't like thinking Negroes. They don't like you sitting up here making sense. Because when you start making sense, you're going to start coming up with ways to produce justice in the face of anti-black racism. You see? And there are a lot of parallels to the Harlem Renaissance, to the foundational Black American Renaissance that we're having right now, family. There are a lot of parallels going on right now. You understand? Look at both movements. See, both movements were cultural births that came from crisis. The Harlem Renaissance, that emerged really right after World War One, when that great migration brought a lot of black people to these northern cities that was sparking a lot of new art and literature and political consciousness. And right now, the foundational Black American Renaissance right now is coming through in an era of mass surveillance, social media, political disillusionment. And we felt we have to reclaim our culture. We got to reclaim our lineage and we got to reclaim our history against erasure attempts, because they're literally talking about taking our history out of museums right now. The Harlem Renaissance, what they have, they had an explosion of creativity and identity. They had poetry, jazz, paintings, literature. That created a new Negro identity that asserted dignity. So what do we have now? We got documentaries, music, podcasts, fashion, museums, things that center foundational Black American lineage. You understand? And they both create these cultural revolutions, and it reframes Blackness. And also, what do we have? Demonizing by the damn white media. Harlem, during the Harlem Renaissance, the white press, they would sensationalize a lot of Harlem nightlife as immoral, dangerous, framing the Black identity as basically deviant. And now what do we have? We got the white media and the tethers who are constantly trying to demonize foundational Black Americans. And we're radical, we're anti-immigrant, divisive. We demand reparations. Oh, you attacking white people. It's the same tactic, family. The only thing is they got more tethers to use as cloaks. Yeah, that's what it is. Also, the whole leader narrative, that they did the same shit in Harlem. The whole leader narrative, because when there's a cultural movement, they have to create a leader in order to attack a non-existent leader, like the Harlem Renaissance. The critics and scholars, they often elevated our brother Alan Locke and W.B. Du Bois and even Langston Hughes to a certain degree as leaders, quote unquote, of the Renaissance. Despite it was a broad collective movement. There were no leaders of the Harlem Renaissance. Yeah. So they try to do that to me. They try to say, I'm the leader of this. I'm not the leader of shit. You cannot be the leader of a damn lineage. But again, that's one of those old law enforcement tactics and media demonization tactics in order to elevate somebody in order to attack them. Because you cannot attack a broad codified movement. You understand? It's the same thing. And look at the global impact. The Harlem Renaissance, that inspired the Negritude movement in France, Africa, and the Caribbean. Harlem became a symbolic capital of world Blackness. Right now, the foundational Black American Renaissance we got going on, that has sparked global dialogues on reparations, lineage, historic truth. Everybody around the world is talking about foundational Black Americans right now. The number one movie in the world, my brother Ryan Coogler, this summer's number one movie, he was talking about his foundational Black American lineage, and that movie was based on foundational Black American lineage. You understand? Same type of cultural reach globally. And also tensions with some of these assimilationists. See, in the Harlem Renaissance, a lot of these thinkers, some of them, they wanted to get on that Pan-African vibe heavy. You had a few of them trying to be on that. Even now, today, people come around us talking, oh no, we need to be generic African, Pan-African, Pan-African, Pan-African. And that ain't really work for nobody. Because ain't nobody Pan-African in Africa. They ain't clicked up in Africa yet. See, back then, we weren't traveling over there like we're doing now. See, back then, people had this idealistic view of Africa. Now we go over there. Many of us have been over there and we see what the get down is, and we're not dissing nobody. But yeah, ain't nobody Pan-African over there. So we know the truth. Huh? That's not to disrespect anybody. But the thing is, man, there's resilient ethnic self-definition. Same thing in Harlem. The Harlem Renaissance, despite all the misrepresentation, the Harlem Renaissance, it cemented a proud new identity for Black Americans and it rejected stereotypes. Right now, this foundational Black American Renaissance, it insists that we're simply not no generic African Americans. We are a lineage group with a very distinct history. We have a distinct struggle. We have distinct contributions. And both of those movements, it redefines identity on our own terms. And we're refusing to have labels imposed on us by people who are not even of the lineage. So, yeah, man, this thing is real. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. History kind of repeats itself, and I'm glad we're standing on business out here. It's about time. All right, let me get some more people in here because we do have a lot of folks in here. Y'all raise your hand if you're ready. I see Cyber Regina. I see Dan. I see Black Alpha down there. Y'all raise those hands. Let's get Camille in here. Miss Camille, hop on in, ma'am. Miss Camille. Miss Camille, you in here? Okay, Camille just wanted to be seen. All right, let's get Brother Jesse in here. Let's get Jesse in the building. Jesse in the building. Mr. Jesse, are you in here, sir?
Yes, sir, Tariq.
How you doing?
Salute, FBA, salute to you. I'm the brother that you spoke to about a month ago when you was in Wyoming, and you was telling us how cool it was out there. I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
So I was just listening to what you was saying. Like, yeah, FBA is the foundation for the black empowerment.
Yeah.
We was the ones that was pushing for that. I'm a Garveyite and a Panther baby or Panther cub. So
yeah,
I was real with black empowerment from a very young age. Both of my grandparents, like I said, were Garveyite. Great grandparents were Garveyites. My grandparents was Black Panthers. I'm from Panthers, so
okay.
I'm say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud at 5 years old. I know it's crazy because we in Colorado, ain't too many of us out here. But shout out to my boy Kukizi, he on code with us. There's a couple of us out here, but what I was gonna say is like, yeah, we FBA been championing the way for black empowerment.
Oh yeah.
We made it cool to be black and proud. We made it cool to rock your fros and naturals. We made it cool, to be proud of our melanin while all these other groups, all these other black groups was running away from their blackness. Me no black, we have to keep reminding them you black under the system of global white supremacy, as Nellie Fuller and Dr. Francis Chris Wilson taught us. But they didn't want to see it. Now, with the delineation movement in full effect, now they want to try to get on board. Oh, me black now. Dominicans talking about they black.
All right.
Cubans about they black. Mexicans talking about they black. All these other groups talking about they black all of a sudden. But prior to us, there wasn't nobody claiming black. And now they want us to change black, talking about we shouldn't be using that term. And I'm like you, Tariq, we should be embracing that term. We made it cool to be black. We embody what blackness is. And we are the foundation for the black empowerment era and movement.
Yes, we are, man. Thank you.
Hey family, you all need to come down to the Hidden History Museum on Saturday, October 4th, 2025 for the Funny Fall Fest Comedy Mixer. It's hosted by Tariq Nasheed and Dwan B, and there are going to be some of the funniest comics in the game performing that night. This is the place to be. I've got a full evening lined up just for you, starting with a complimentary dinner, pop music, followed by a night of nonstop laughter. It's going to be popping for real. You don't want to miss this night of food, fun, and comedy at the Hidden History Museum. Get your tickets now at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. See you there.